I've heard it from so many Christians that they say that Islam doesn't have any love. There is no name of God is love as we have in Christianity, as they say. That Christianity say that God is love and God love his humans, and that's why he came to earth and he sacrificed himself and so on. The thing is, if we go back to the Bible and see how did God express himself as love, there is the word agape. Agape is a Latin or Greek word. It means the relationship between two people. It doesn't mean that the relationship that makes someone love the other person so much to the limit that can kill themselves or sacrifice themselves for others. This concept was um, uh, it came afterward that Christians actually used agape to refer to this meaning. But in the beginning, the Greek, they know that agape means the relationship between a person and another. It has nothing to do with someone loving each other so much or anything like that. It's just normal relationship between other two. There are other words for love in Greek, like eros, which is the relationship between the man and the woman, the sexual relationship, and there is philia. Philia means the relationship between two friends or two brothers, or um, it means the love between two, but there is no sexual connection to it, and so there is no real meaning to the word love in Christianity that talk about that God is love, and love here it means the sacrifice or going like further uh, until someone can kill himself or put himself for the other person. There is no real expression in Greek or even in Hebrew or even in Christianity to talk about this kind of love. If we go to the Old Testament, even the Jews, God is there's no word say God is love in the Old Testament, and it says that that He took the Israelites to be His own and to take care of them, but there is no really the word love. Now let's go back and see what Islam says about God is love. Actually, in Islam is the only religion that talks about God, and it talks about one of his attributes and names. In Islam, there are names for God and attributes that Muslims can go and invoke God through these or via these names and call God these names. One of these names that it is mentioned in the Quran is Al-Wadud in Arabic. Al-Wadud means the most loving. Al-Wadud means the most loving. And it was mentioned two times. One time it was in chapter 11, verse 90 in Surah Hud. It says, "My Lord is merciful and most loving." So even God, He put mercy and love together. Also in chapter 85, verse 14, it says, "And He is the most forgiving and the most loving." So God forgiving people because He loved them. When God first created this creation and put Adam, the humankind, as one of the best of His creation, to be responsible for this creation, and He made all this creation to be for Him to use and to take care of at the same time. This is the kind of love of God to His creation and to the humankind. And it is a very general word, but at the same time, it is a very special word because God loves the Muslim and the non-Muslim. When it says Al-Wadud, or the most loving, here it doesn't talk only about that God only loves the Muslims and doesn't love the non-Muslims. But here it talks about the love of the whole humankind. And if God doesn't love the non-Muslims, then why does He make them alive until now? Why is He giving them all this opportunity to come and repent? This is the kind of love of God on earth. And also it says here in one of the scholars' books, it says that God love al-kafir, means the infidel or the non-Muslims, but he does not love his bad deeds or actions. And also he loves the one who make mistakes and sin, the sinful, but he wants them to come back and repent and ask for forgiveness. And God also love the one who is obedient, and he wants him to be steadfast, and so God can give him a better place and a better position. So here, al-wadud is an attribute of God, that it is one of the characteristics of God, and at the same time, it is a practical characteristic of God. It's not only psychological, but also a practical one. And so it is not only an emotional attribute, but also it is an attitude of God to his creation. It is an emotional and attitude at the same time, that God gave us all this beautiful creation and nature to take care of, this beautiful life that God gave us to take care of. And this is what it means that God is love in Islam. So does Islam have the word love and the most loving? Yes, it is one of the attributes of God. Thank you for listening, and we'll continue next time, inshallah.